Harvest chapter 40. Pity the dead who are your accessories, you lady of kingdoms who are the widow, who blacken the portals of our orbs from the place of space, and put out our stars in the void of your deep shadows, that you might put out our lights with deep dark eyeshadow, and blacken our souls in with the walls of your evil coverings. Come out of her, my people, and turn not into her for a single look, for he who looks shall be turned into a pillar of salt, and the goer in of him shall be trodden down and drowned, and his soul shall wake up in the heart of hell, to enter into the world of the sea of fiery blackness. Who dyed up his hair with Peter Still's Black No. 1, and went out at midnight on a date with Nosferatu, and took a bite of the devil's mark on her milky white neck. For the blood of typo negatives burnt flowers which are fallen. So he was killed instantly, and she pushed his corpse off the coffin of her own bed, laughing, whose soul proceeded down a dark shaft of the abyss, which landed him in the cell of a dark block. Wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey. Time to get up and eat. Then the poor damned soul woke up screaming, and I saw him tied up to the stone of a great stretcher, and his soul rocked back and forth all over the place, like a wounded animal tearing to get out of a great cage. Get me out of here, he said. Free me from the curse of this evil place, for my soul is brought down to the ruins of hell, and the sin of my flesh refuses to show me pity. Then a devil entered in through a wooden door, and another of the fallen in that dark little room closed it up, and he locked it with the bolt of a great iron, by the insertion of a great key shaped like a skeleton. His appearance to behold when he went in was hideous, and the horror of his hellish eyes issued out the taunts of great cruelty as he closed the door. Then he picked up a large barrel of boiling hot feces, and proceeded immediately to pour it down into the mouth of the slain damned man on the stretcher. This is the reward of sin. This is the fruit of the great harlot, whose soul winners pour boiling feces into the rotting mouths of their latest victims, and their evangelists pierce their women through with the sewing needle of a great iron, and their reapers string them up around their necks like popcorn, on a scarlet-colored thread through their flesh for a beaded necklace. So they went in on the devils of death row, and the iron heights of Christmas for ornaments of silver, and Go-Go's Club Zero for rings of gold, on the 10 bony fingers of Khan the Mandarin, the sorcerer of slavery, who said unto them who went up unto them, You were ours on the day that you served us, and we shall wear you this day that we make up our jewels. Then they left a horrible cruel laugh, and cold-hearted cruelty echoed out through the smoke of the air of their cursed chambers. So they were left in the hands of their captors to suffer the slings of a great arrow, whose subjects of suffering screamed violently on the neck of those cursed damned devils that pierced them, and cried out loud to be freed from the wraparound of them, whose prisoners of wrap were their beads, and for the sin of their youth their strings, whose wearers of sin were the fallen. Then, after this, the Spirit of the Lord caught me away to a high place, and I traveled back in time as a whirlwind in a thorn tree and to another dimension. And my Father took me all over hell for many years, and showed me unto me the visions of various places, whose various places are built up as many add-ons of the evil one daily, and various chambers of the coal of the pit, as they are provided, according to the works of their evil servers, that they who serve them might build up their own houses. Open wide your mouth, O you harlot of hell, and the king of Ichabod shall fill it, that the wicked nation which keeps not the truth may enter into you, and go into that broad way. So the gates of the broad were opened, and the unrighteous dead of Ichabod went into them, and the gates of the departed slammed shut, and the iron of their bars were bolted tightly, and their enemies received them with great joy. Welcome to hell. We hope you like it here. Chapter 41. Why do you rejoice, O you wretches, and you cheerleaders of sin, you scoundrels? Open your eyes and look at where you're walking. Can you not see? Have you no eyes to hear? You sow death in the earth. Will you now reap life? You planted thorns and thistles. Will you now have ears of corn for harvest? Come, Eat of the fruits of your labors, and go down into the fields of your harvest, and enter in by the gates of the broad, which you have gone in to sow. Come, see many places. Raccoon City of the Walking Dead, Camp Crystal Lake for the beastly abused, Hell's Kitchen for the daredevils under the power of the Kingpin, and Arkham Asylum of the Batcave, which is a dark night's reward for running from him. For these are the places of things turned upside down, and the evil fruit of the fearful to see met the deepest depths of the darkest desires, that they might find rest from their fears in the land of deep desire, in the valley of the shadow of death for the ease of make-believe. Come, delight yourself in the devil, you makers of a lie, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Trust also in him, and he will do it. So the wicked put their trust in him, and they all fell down to die. Oh, how awful it is to see the damned die, and the fruit of their deeds to see them glory, who glory in sin for their destruction of the deeds of their flesh, and great transgression for the benefits of the mortally wounded, who went in with 10 and ended up with nothing. One had 2 talents but fell to 0. Back up. One went in with 10 and ended up with nothing. One had 2 talents but fell to 0. Another vomited out feces from the roof of his mouth, and the last sulfur. And I felt the stink of it as it came out, and the taste of the stink was horrible. And I gagged in my mouth with great disgust, and nearly threw up all over on my bed. Who can describe a place called hell, or put it on a screen of a movie to show it? If one were to speak of it, behold, he would lay his hand over his mouth, and to show it, his whole audience watching would die in their seats, and he would faint in his chair. For when the curtain goes up, terror begins. Chapter 42. Then it went up unto them that day as a curtain of a great movie theater, and the curtain of the heaven that was spread out receded up as a scroll of heaven when it is rolled together. After that the glory of it had departed, and that the Son of his grace concerning the wicked go up to where he was before. And every mountain and island were moved out of their places on that day, and the strongholds of their idols, which the work of their hands had made, were brought down, and the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every freeman, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said unto the mountains and rocks, Fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sits on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? Woe unto you, O vessels of wrath, who are bowed, and you children of my anger, who are fitted down to go down to hell, who are fitted to go down to hell for looking back, and to bow down to the dust for departing from the living God. That you who bow down to the dust may receive the reward of an evil heart, and a curse and a crown of shame for the possession of your black inhabitants. Pity the dead that go down to you, and the backsliders of the Lord who fall in, whose tender mercies of the wicked are cruel, and the gracious rebellious who seek to bring them down into liars heartless. And the gracious rebellious who seek them to bring them down into lies heartless, who are as gold mixed in with the dross of the great multitude, and the iniquity of falsehood in the footsteps of their fathers, who must give an account now to the Lord of their fathers for all their sins, and pay unto him double for the debt of the chalking up of their crimes. For I peered out of their calluses in the yoke of my former youth, and beheld the evil expectation of fear and the wrath of fiery indignation, who poured out the bitter cup of wrath upon me for all my sins, and the horrors of hell upon them who had their part with me. For I had rebelled against the Lord my Maker to the shame of my greatest horror, and was overcome by the cruelty of my wicked oppressors, who bullied me to death when I went into the schoolyard of kindergarten, and ceased not to torment me all the way to the end of my junior year in high school. Then I left there early for persecution, and was exited out from my higher up, and would have finished my senior year, had it not been for the devil and all his wicked bullies, whose subject of sin belled out of it at the last at the very last minute and graduated 2 months later into success. But the memory of that place never left me, but still haunts me to this very day. Chapter 43. Come, die here with us in this place of darkness, I heard them say. Then they smothered me up with a great blanket, and my soul was covered over in pitch. And I went down into deep darkness for 18 full years, and 15 plus more from the time after that I was saved. Oh, how great are the sorrows of the wicked, and the tasters of the taunts of their horrible cruelties, whose tasters suffer long their taunts for the sake of righteousness, and at the hands of the wicked for teaching what is right, lest they who are coming out of them successfully escape, and find safe passage in the arms of the Lord's Redeemer. For the Lord of their Redeemer is mighty, and the arms of his salvation are very strong, who redeemed them from their sins by the shedding forth of his own blood, that they might go out by the rolling away of their taunters' reproaches, whose Redeemer has power of remission over stones, and the rolling away of great reproaches, that they may go out of the grave of their fathers, and the mouth of their sepulchres through the rolling away of them. Come forth, O Lazarus of the dead, you son of the Shulamite, your mother, and Shunem. Then he who was dead came forth, and the Shunammite of his mother went out from the reproach of the reapers of his father's head, and walked out of the grave of his father bound hand and foot, with the flesh of his own body covered up under grave clothes. Loose him, and let him go. Then I was loosed, and death which could no longer hold me let me go. And they removed from me my filthy grave clothes, and my rags for the putting on of clean garments, whose clean white garments glistened in the valley of the shadow, as of a great light which shines out of a dark place. Come, ye children of the dark, and exit out through the valley of the shadow, for the Lord who calls you out into his marvelous light is most mighty to keep you. Chapter 44. For these are the words of the wise, and things taught from the Spirit of the God of all understanding, that he who reads may hear, and he who hears may see, and he who sees may show. What I tell you in darkness, therefore, speak it in the light, and what you hear in the ear, preach it upon the housetops. And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to kill both the soul and body in hell, where there is no going out of that place, but the spirit of the seer to show. For where they walk, there they must stand, and where they stand, there they must fall, and where they fall, there they shall remain, and that always. For they rejected him whose word brought forth life, and turned their soul away from the spirit of his holy commandment, and lived their life carefree as if they had no eyes, as if he who would redeem them was no Savior. Then they died without him that day, and were burned without the God of the camp. Lord, Lord, God of our holy fathers, rock of our refuge, why have you forsaken us? Why, O Lord, are you so far from helping us? Return, O Lord, deliver our soul. O save us for thy mercy's sake. So they burned there in the belly of the beast, and screamed violently in the weeds of their own entanglement, and suffocated in the stench of that great beast, who swallowed them up for refusing to do his Maker's will. This place is too painful, they said. Help us. We can't bear the heat of it any longer. Put it out. Have mercy on us, O Lord, and take us out of here. Is this where you have landed, my people? And will you now ask me to take you out of here? Who fell here for turning away from the voice of my own counsel by your own free will, that you might walk over the edge of the cliff into the shame of your own poverty? Too late, therefore, I say. I know not where you are from. For earth had her fair chance, and the children of the kingdom who were cast out for rejecting it.